Right, okay, so about 12 years ago, I had what most students would call a postgraduate nervous breakdown. I just finished school and had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I remember taking a walk that day thinking to myself, I've never been more scared in my life than I am right now. And I was scared because I felt like for the first time in my life, I didn't have the answers. And no one was there to give them to me. I really did feel completely alone by that point. And I just kind of remember sitting there thinking, what now? What do I do with my life? And I was watching all my friends get jobs, pretty decent jobs, and they seemed really happy. But I just wasn't ready. I didn't want to commit to anything. And the reason I was finding it so difficult to make a decision was because I knew that no matter what career path I chose, that I wanted to be happy. And that whatever I did made a positive impact on the lives around me. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a positive impact on people. And so I took some time off to try to figure it out, and after a couple more years of doing absolutely nothing, I thought, okay, this is getting ridiculous now. I got to figure something out. But I can't just sit around and do nothing with my life. I had about $800 to my name at the time, and I always wanted to move to California. And for some reason, I just thought it would be really cool to live there. Growing up in New York was fun, but man, the winters were awful. And the weather was just really crappy most of the year. Not to mention I had family in LA who offered to put me up. So all I really had to do was drive across country and get a job. So I asked my best friend at the time if he wanted to take a couple weeks off and keep me company on the journey. And he wasn't doing much either at the time. So as you can imagine, he jumped at the opportunity. And within about 2 months, a day arrived where we were going to finally do it. I was finally leaving home. And so the car was packed and ready to go the night before. I went around saying bye to my family and friends that evening, which was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I'm really close to my family, so, leaving them for the first time was really tough. But nothing was harder than saying bye to my mom. That was hard. My dad passed away when I was 16 years old, and because of that, we all grew really close to my mom. She devoted her life to making sure that we would keep moving forward, and I'll never be able to repay her for what she did for me. So as we pulled out of my driveway that morning, I remember looking through the rearview mirror of the car, and I couldn't stop staring at my house. And it just kind of got smaller and smaller in the distance until finally it was gone. And I remember thinking, wow, I actually did it. I spoke about doing it for years. It was always my dream to move across country and to kind of, live in California, but I never thought I would actually do it. It was such a milestone in my life. And it was at that very moment that I realized I'm up for the challenge. I am okay with whatever life throws my way, and I'm going to make the most of it. That was the moment I knew I was okay with taking risk. We had the route all planned out. From New York, we were going to head straight to Chicago, where we spent a couple of nights there before driving across Iowa, Nebraska, before reaching Colorado. After Colorado, we headed south until we hit the Grand Canyon, spent a couple days there, before eventually heading to Vegas. You got to do Vegas on a cross-country trip. And by the time we got to Las Vegas, I had about $250 left. So, and today I look back to when I was 22 years old thinking, how the hell did I pull off a 2-week cross-country trip on $800? But, we did it. A lot of cold nights camping out, but I'm an outdoors type, so we had a great time doing it. So we were in Las Vegas, and we just said goodbye to our friends before beginning the final leg of our journey. It's about a 4-hour drive, and if you've ever done the Vegas to LA trip, then you'll know it's nothing but barren desert the entire way. Nothing for about 250 miles. So we head off, and within about an hour into the trip, somewhere along Route 15, I think it was, the engine in my car dies. Here we are in the middle of the desert, 2,500 miles away from my home, and the catalytic converter on my Subaru decides it's had enough. By this point I had about $200 left, which I think was just about enough to get a truck to come out and tow us back to Vegas. And then the bill came the next morning, $2,000 it was going to cost me. And I remember sitting there at the auto garage, no money, no car, my entire life packed up. I didn't even have a job waiting for me in California. And I just sat there and I thought, this must be a sign. So I called my mom and I told her what happened. And of course, the first thing she says is, honey, why don't you just come home? Maybe it wasn't meant to be. And I thought, what? It would be easy to just get on a plane, turn around and go back to what was comfortable and easy and stress-free. And I had 2 choices that day that were going to literally determine the rest of my life. I could, 1, take the easy way out and run back to my comfort zone. Or 2, I could fight to get ahead and make a real name for myself. So I decided to sleep on it. And the next morning I woke up and I thought, you know what? No way I'm doing this. No way I'm turning around now. I called everyone I knew, family, friends, and I asked them for money so I can fix my car and get to California. And it was embarrassing asking for money, but I was so confident in my ability to succeed that I didn't hesitate for 2 seconds to do whatever it took to get to LA. And it wasn't just about getting there, it was about realizing my dream. It was about moving forward in life and not looking back. Moving away from home with literally the shirt on my back represented a much bigger picture. It defined who I was. And I proved to myself the day I arrived in LA that I could do anything I wanted. And the reason that I'm sharing this story with you today is because we're all faced with major life decisions every single day. And 9 out of 10 times, things don't go our way, but the choices we make and the ability to overcome even the most challenging of obstacles defines who we are, and it paves the way for bigger and better accomplishments. People often ask me, how I got to where I am today in such a short period of time. And I have to dedicate much of my success to keeping an open mind. I really think that's what's done it for me. I'm a yes guy. Everything is yes, unless there's a really good reason for me to say no. And I think when you say yes enough times to new ideas and new business concepts, you learn more in a few months than most will learn in an entire lifetime. And that's what being an entrepreneur is all about. It's about saying, yeah, why not? And let's try that. And if it doesn't work, you try something else, but you have to try. And you can't be afraid of failure. And if you do fail quick and move on. But you got to move on because life is too short to sit around and dwell on what didn't work. And eventually the penny will drop and one of your 1,000 ideas will finally take off, but you have to try and you have to keep trying. I believe if you tackle life head on with a positive mindset and a yes approach, that you will go far. And I think I owe a lot of what I've achieved to that approach. So in 2005, I met David Hockley, and we were both working in the same city for 2 different financial companies. We were on the sales side of the business, and we did quite well for ourselves. But after a few years of both of us working for other companies, David approached me and he said, hey, what do you think about starting our own financial firm? I was like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty comfortable here. I'm making great money. It's a big risk. But throughout the next couple of months, David's question really played on my mind. But although I was comfortable and I made a great income, I realized I wasn't as happy as I probably should be. I was actually starting to get really burnt out. And it was getting to the point where, I was getting sick of making someone else money. And I thought back to that day when my car broke down on Route 15 in the middle of the desert. And I thought, you know what? Why not? What's the worst that can happen? I remember speaking to my wife about it. And she was like, Matt, you got to do it. You got to go for it. You only live once. If you don't do it, you're going to regret it. So I called David and I said, I'm in, let's do it. And within a few months, we opened the doors with about 5 employees. Right out of the gate, the money was flying in. Left, right, and center, the markets were on a roll. And we just kept plowing everything we made right back into the business. Within 6 months, I think we were up to about 50 employees. Life couldn't have been better until the world's worst financial recession hit in 2009. And as quickly as we built our business from the ground up, we practically lost it overnight. Letting go of 30 employees in 1 week was the hardest thing I ever had to do. It killed me. It really devastated me. Not to mention, I was so embarrassed. 1 minute you're on top of the world, the next minute, your competitors were right about you all along. I think they were literally taking bets we wouldn't last longer than 6 months. It was just an awful feeling. And I remember sitting in my office that day thinking, there has to be a better way. I can't allow this to ever happen again. Running a business shouldn't be this volatile. So David and I sat down together that evening and started brainstorming different ways to get our business going again. And he asked me what I thought about digital marketing, which at the time I really didn't know anything about. Most companies today barely know how to manage a digital marketing strategy, so you can imagine how foreign it was in 2009. So he went on to explain the benefits of it and how, it could help build a bit of stability into our business. So of course I was interested, especially after what just happened. At that point I was open-minded to anything. So we hired a marketing consultant to go through setting up a digital marketing campaign. And we decided that email marketing was probably the best way to start. And within a couple of weeks, we were ready to send out our first mass email. We must have spent days preparing for this email. Making sure the headlines were in the right place, the images were professional enough. We were just really getting worked up over making sure it was perfect. And I remember the very moment we hit the send button for the first time. It was March 16th, 2009 at 2:37 p.m. I know that's pretty specific, but I'll never forget that day. We sent out a campaign to about 3,100 people selling investment property in Spain. And within minutes, we must have had about 300 people open and read the offer. 300 people saw our investment property campaign in about 10 minutes. You know, it used to take us an entire month to get through to 300 people on the phone, and we just did it in 10 minutes. I will never forget how excited we were over this. And it wasn't the fact that we sent out an email that we were jumping for joy over. It was the fact that we sold 3 properties that week from a single email marketing campaign. You know, I think we made about $45,000 over 2 days from that single email. So we sat down with our marketing consultant and we're like, that was awesome. You know, let's do more of that. We set up another campaign for the next week, and over the course of about 5 days, I think we brought in another $50,000. And I love telling this story because no matter how many campaigns I've built for my clients, you know, over the last 10 years, nothing will ever be more exciting than my very first campaign. As you can imagine, we were hooked, and we completely restructured our business to make sure digital marketing was incorporated throughout 100% of the sales funnel. I mean, we did a total revamp of our business. And what started as a simple email campaign quickly grew into an automated dynamic distribution sequence. We had several paid traffic sources in place, driving leads into each of our sales funnels. And before we knew it, we had built a fully automated digital marketing solution that handled everything from lead generation to closing the deals themselves in quite a few cases. We went from the new guys on the block in 2008 to #1 in sales for all major insurance providers by 2013. I think we sold over $300 million worth of products in about 5 years. But it wasn't about how much money David and I were making that excited me. It was how much my employees started making from applying the same digital marketing strategies to their business. And that was the most rewarding part about the whole experience. You know, everything that we tried and tested as a company over the next 5 years, we were able to pass that down to our team so that they too can experience that same financial freedom that both David and I got to enjoy. And that was so important to me because, you know, I was able to make such a big impact on their lives, which helped them to make an even bigger impact on their clients' lives. You know, showing them how to flood their events with clients, whether it was for charity or an educational seminar, was just the most rewarding and satisfying part of the whole job for me. They never imagined in a million years that they would be able to set up their own automated marketing campaign, you know, capable of generating them clients practically every day. You know, they couldn't believe it. And yeah, the money was good, but it wasn't just about the money. It was about building something special. It was about all of us living our dreams and achieving true financial freedom. So at the end of 2013, just 5 years after we opened the doors, we were made an offer for the business that we just couldn't refuse. And although it was really hard to say goodbye, we knew deep down inside our passion was now in helping others grow their business, the same way we were able to grow ours in such a short period of time. We didn't want to be tied down to just one business anymore. We wanted to help other businesses now. And we really did want to help them enjoy the same level of success that both our employees and ourselves got to enjoy. So David and I thought, you know, how cool would it be to apply the same digital marketing strategy to other industries, regardless of what products and services they sold? You know, let's replicate our success so we can plug it into other businesses. So we created a system called the Digital Accelerator, which is the exact same system that we used. And I think we've helped about 50 businesses now really achieve their profit goals. Yeah, I do feel incredibly blessed for everything I have, but I think the decisions I made throughout my life and my determination to succeed is what really got me here today. And of course, a loving wife. You know, my wife has supported me 100% throughout this incredible journey, and I really do owe so much to her just for being there for me, you know, and helping me get through those never-ending challenging days where, you know, I just want to kind of throw in the towel and give up. But it's paid off, and the real reward is just being able to have fun in life and not be a slave to your business. I think that's what every entrepreneur's dream come true is, to be able to pack up and travel wherever they feel like it, go wherever you want, not have to worry about your business coming to a crashing halt every single time, you know, you want to take a holiday or just a day off. And that's what the automation aspect of the business allows. Ever since I was a teenager, it was a dream of mine to be able to take my mom to Italy. And just last year, we finally got to do it. We were able to take 3 weeks at our own pace and just, you know, really just travel around and visit all of our favorite places. And I can't begin to tell you the satisfaction you will experience when you get to do all of these great things for other people. You know, it really does put the biggest smile on my face. And I guess the biggest reason behind why I'm so passionate about working with others to help them get their business off the ground and where it needs to be is because, you know, I know the feeling of what it's like to feel lost and stuck. And when I needed help, people were there for me. And I feel that now I have the opportunity to give back and help others the same way that they help me. And when I'm able to help my clients live their life the same way I'm able to live mine, you know, that's when I really know I've done my job.